is up, my little ponies, and welcome back to another video that I had to shoot twice because I accidentally deleted the entire thing after editing it. So, my bad, but today I'm going to talk about something that I don't actually think I've seen any pony talk about, which would be the Rocket to Insanity comic dub. And I'm more so, even though I am saying the comic dub, that's because that's where I was introduced to it. If you were in the My Little Pony fandom in the early days, like comic dubs were really popular alongside grimdarks. If you don't know what a grimdark is, I'll give you a brief little explanation from Urban Dictionary. Grimdark is an adjective taken from the root words of grim and darkness, both which are featured in the tagline for Warhammer, quote, "In the grim darkness of the far future there is only war," unquote. It is usually used to describe a setting that would equal poor living conditions and life expectancies for those actually living in it. A very popular grimdark or creepypasta at the time was Cupcakes, a story about Pinkie Pie turning all of her friends into cupcakes, starting with Rainbow Dash, and I actually loved this idea so much that I consumed anything related to it, which led me to Muffin's A Side Story, which is one of my favorite offshoots of Cupcakes, but it also led me to this, The Rocket of Insanity, originally by Skizzer Scrawlings, forgive me if I pronounced that wrong, which was an offshoot of Cupcakes where instead of Pinkie Pie actually being evil, it's just dreams that drive Rainbow Dash to kill Pinkie Pie before she can kill her. There is also an alternate ending of this story written by Dark Jester, and the two of those inspired this very specific telling of Rocket to Insanity that we will be analyzing today, which is the Scribbler production dubbing of seventozen's written and illustrated adapted version of the comics mentioned before. So let's start by breaking this down part by part, and in our first part we see that Rainbow Dash is suffering from sleep deprivation due to constant nightmares. She is struggling to cope with the aftermath of those nightmares and is starting to lose touch with reality. Her friends notice that something is wrong, but she is pushing them away and lashing out at them for trying to help. Pinkie Pie, worried about Rainbow Dash, understandably decides to invite her over to make cupcakes, unbeknownst to Pinkie Pie that those are the very nightmares Rainbow Dash has been suffering from. When Dash arrives, it's all too similar to her nightmares, and she ends up attacking Pinkie Pie in an attempt to save herself from the perceived villain that Pinkie Pie is. And our first part ends with us watching Pinkie Pie being rolled away off in an ambulance and Dash taking off from Sugar Cube Corner feeling unsure and guilty, honestly, of kind of what just happened in general. In our second part, we get to see everybody's reactions to Rainbow Dash's attack on Pinkie Pie. And everybody's actually really hostile, surprisingly. Applejack punches Rainbow Dash, Fluttershy yells at her and threatens to hit her, and despite Rainbow's attempts to explain herself, Rarity just ends up walking away. The other ponies just do not believe her and distance themselves from her. Twilight Sparkle, however, decides to take Rainbow Dash back to her house in order to get her cleaned up and hopes to hear her side of the story. Twilight explains to Rainbow Dash that the nightmare she described was real and that she was actually trying to kill Pinkie Pie, not living through another day-walking nightmare. Rainbow Dash understandably has trouble believing it, and once she finally starts to grasp it, is overcome with guilt and shame for what she's done. Twilight reassures her, being the princess of friendship that she is, that she will help her through this difficult time. Rainbow Dash stays at Twilight's house throughout the night, and Spike witnesses Twilight crying and expresses his concern for her, knowing that this is an incredibly stressful situation. And the next day, Rainbow Dash is recovering from the experience, but still feels guilty and uncertain about how her friends will react further, if they will come back, or if anybody will give her a chance to discuss the situation and come to a resolution. At the end of this part, we also see Rainbow having another nightmare where the twisted Pinkie Pie tells her she'll be sticking around, and upon waking up, Twilight and Rainbow find she has an almost like bruise on her chest. It's like a very big bruise at that too, very noticeable. And in our part 4, we see Twilight can't find anything about the bruise, but convinces Rainbow Dash to go see Pinkie Pie, hoping some closure will help the both of them. We also see that after they leave to go see Pinkie, that Fluttershy shows up to the library and expresses to Spike that she wants to talk to Rainbow Dash. Spike updates her on Rainbow's state while they head to the hospital. At this time, Rainbow and Pinkie Pie are making up. After every pony meets up, Twi gets a letter from Celestia about the situation with Rainbow Dash and the strange events surrounding her recent actions and behavior. Celestia is aware that something suspicious is going on, but is unwilling to condemn Rainbow Dash, an element bearer, without more information. Twilight writes back and explains that Rainbow is experiencing nightmares, bruising, and hallucinations. Celestia has a very bad feeling about this situation as it reminds her of something that happened over a millennium ago. She states that this was supposedly eradicated. She suspects that the demon that had been previously eradicated has taken hold of Rainbow and is asking Twilight for more information to help resolve the situation. In our part 5, we focus on Celestia and Luna discussing the growing threat, as Celestia realizes that the same parasite that once overtook Luna, Sabnatstica, is now infecting Rainbow Dash, but unlike Luna, whose exile to the moon cured her, a mortal pony faces a very different fate. And instead of becoming a villain like Nightmare Moon, Rainbow Dash suffers from a dual consciousness. Celestia also notes that Rainbow is past the 5th iteration, implying that the situation is dire. Since Sabnatstica appears only in Rainbow Dash's dreams, Luna prepares to enter her dreams and purge it. Both sisters are very fearful. Celestia dreads Luna facing this evil again, and Luna, terrified of losing herself to a parasite she overcame once, almost refuses. Celestia insists, knowing that they cannot afford to lose an element of harmony. Meanwhile, after making amends with Fluttershy, Rainbow experiences another blackout with Twilight and the others noticing, like really noticing, commenting, "You went somewhere there for a minute, Dash," Twilight says. Later, Rainbow confides in Twilight that the nightmare now haunts her even when awake. During lunch, she has a paranoid breakdown, worsened by the parasite manipulating her fears that everyone knows that she is a killer, or thinks she is a killer, and bolts from the diner. Twilight follows her home, finding Rainbow in the shower trying to calm down. Rainbow reveals a zirconite necklace gifted to her by Pinkie Pie as a sign of good faith in the two of them's recovery. Twilight explains it has the power to absorb evil. After another breakdown, Twilight comforts Rainbow, who thanks her for staying when no pony else did. When asked why, Twilight admits losing Rainbow would be different from losing their other friends, hinting that they might share something special. And instead of elaborating, she impulsively kisses Rainbow, who, overwhelmed, reacts angrily, calling Twilight a filly fooler. Upset, Rainbow storms off, leaving Twilight regretting her actions. And I will comment more on the end of the video on the term filly fooler, because trust me, I absolutely need to. After cooling down, Rainbow returns to the library balcony where the parasite, appearing as a zombie-like Pinkie Pie, warns her their time together and Rainbow's life is nearing its end. Rainbow yells for it to leave, but Twilight, overhearing this, thinks she means her and walks away dejected. As Rainbow Dash catches up to her to try to explain, we go back to Luna telling Celestia she needs Nightfall to come early to save Rainbow Dash in time. And this part ends with Rainbow and Twilight making up, only for Rainbow to collapse, clutching the bruise on her chest. After Luna brings the night early, Rainbow Dash is possessed by Sapnatstica. Twilight and her friends struggle to help her, but the entity taunts them, claiming it has been tormenting Rainbow for months. Princess Luna arrives and reveals that Subnatstica was behind her transformation into Nightmare Moon, and it was accidentally released when the elements of harmony purified Luna and it later latched onto Rainbow Dash, and if not removed soon, Rainbow will either be lost forever or die. Luna's solution requires all 6 element bearers to be present to sever their bond with the elements temporarily. With time running out, Twilight and her friends must urgently find Rarity and get Pinkie Pie to begin the ritual before it's too late. Twilight and her friends end up going to Rarity's house. They hesitate to enter because it's night and the door is open but nobody answers. Needless, they do. Rarity catches them and, very startled, confronts them with a bat. I mean, this lady was ready to throw down. After calming down, she admits she's been experiencing terrifying waking nightmares, and the others suddenly realize that they have all also been experiencing really bad nightmares kind of at the same time. Twilight realizes that Sabnastica's influence must be spreading, affecting them all. They return to Luna, who begins the ritual to temporarily sever their bonds with the elements of harmony so she can remove Sabnatica from Rainbow Dash. The process is painful, causing them to experience each other's thoughts and fears, and despite the comfort, they trust Luna and the process, waking up fine. Meanwhile, Princess Celestia discusses her concerns about Luna with her assistant Quill. She regrets not recognizing Luna's infection 1,000 years ago before she became Nightmare Moon. Celestia once glimpsed into Luna's mind before the Nightmare Moon event and saw her happily speaking to an unseen entity, raising disturbing questions in Celestia's mind. Despite her worries, Quill assures her that Luna is strong, determined, and is going to get through this, giving Celestia some small sense of comfort. Luna ventures into Rainbow Dash's subconscious, searching for the parasite, which she had given the name Parthis. She struggles to navigate Dash's chaotic mind filled with distractions and shifting landscapes. Eventually, she does encounter a part of Dash's subconscious that leads her deeper inside to where Parthis is, the parasite responsible for Rainbow Dash's suffering. Their confrontation is tense, Parthis refusing to acknowledge Luna's authority, dismissing her attempts to reason with him. He reveals that long ago, Luna altered him by giving him empathy, a concept he now resents. He states he was once a perfect parasite, but her intervention left him burdened with the emotions he neither wants nor understands. Luna refuses to kill Parthis. Instead, she attempts to restore the memories he had locked away. Memories of the lessons she had taught him. Memories that could remind him of his lost emotions in an attempt to maybe give him some kind of physical form, I think, or at least make him a stable parasite that could not affect other ponies. While this is never stated, this is just my personal theory. To do this, she forcefully connects to his mind, dragging him into his own subconscious labyrinth, which is a gnarly mesh of his and Rainbow Dash's. Parthis, resisting, fearing what he might remember, mocks Luna, questioning whether he can even be anything more than a parasite. Luna, however, remains determined. She stabilizes Rainbow Dash's body with magic, buying them time to recover Parthis's lost memories and hopefully cure Dash in the process. Here is our second to last part, where we see the others waiting for Luna to finish, and in a quiet moment, Fluttershy tells Twilight that she knows about her crush on Rainbow Dash. Twilight understandably asks her not to spread it around. Fluttershy reassures her, though, that she wouldn't, as she really just wants her friends to be happy, especially Rainbow Dash being her childhood best friend. As we go back to Luna and Parthis's journey through Rainbow Dash and Parthis's subconscious, Parthis mocks Luna, who finally snaps, admitting she has no plan. She wanted to restore his memory to prove that he could change, but realizes she's only stalling. She cannot bring herself to kill him. Parthis suddenly recalls his past, at all of this emotion Luna spewed at him, and how he was responsible for Luna's exile. Overwhelmed, he panics. As memories flood back, Luna urges him to hold on, promising things will be okay as she is here to help him with it. Parthis faces judgment within Dash's mind. Every creature he's harmed seeks revenge. He warns Luna to leave, but she refuses, still believing he can be saved. However, he's made his decision, allowing himself to be destroyed as atonement. He tells Luna to stop fighting for him. Tired of being seen as a nightmare, he just wants to do one good thing. And as the spirits close in, he urges Luna to escape. She can't promise not to worry, but she leaves, heartbroken. Parthis makes his final stand, accepting his fate before the spirits tear him apart. He delivers one last speech, and it ends with saying that Luna promised to make it quick. And then we get our final shot of Luna shooting a magical beam through Parthis and the amalgamation wolf creature that was coming at him. And in our finale, Luna wakes up to her friend's concern because she does not look well. They assure her that Rainbow Dash is safe and seems to be free of the nightmare. Luna, still shaken, insists on seeing Rainbow Dash herself. Despite reassurances, she needs to see that Parthis is truly gone. Once she does, she asks Rainbow how she feels. Rainbow says she feels better, though exhausted, and thanks Luna for saving her. However, after Luna thanks her, she seems distant and unsettled. The others celebrate, but Twilight notices something is off with Luna and follows her outside before Luna takes off. Twilight confronts Luna, who struggles with tons of guilt, obviously. Luna admits that even though she succeeded, it doesn't feel like a victory. She tells Twilight that dreams, even painful ones, can feel really long after they end. Twilight encourages her to talk to someone about it, and Luna returns to Canterlot to speak with Celestia. Celestia praises her, but Luna reveals the truth. Parthis, the entity she destroyed, was once something she cared for and maybe even loved. 1,000 years ago, she gave him emotions and tried to help him become more than just a parasite, but in the end, she was forced to destroy him. Luna wrestles with the weight of her choice. She saved Rainbow Dash, but what is truly the right decision? Quoting, "What is a mortal life to an immortal one?" Celestia reminds her that she didn't just save Rainbow Dash, she saved all of Rainbow Dash's friends from a heartbreak that they could not recover. Their bond is stronger because of this. She comforts Luna, sharing her own experiences of loss, and the two sisters share a moment of closeness that gives you a really good sense of closure with them them laughing as we close out on their part of the story. Days later, life returns to normal, the sun rises at its proper time, and Rainbow Dash is recovering well. Rainbow Dash receives the necklace that she had lost, a small but meaningful gesture from Pinkie Pie in the beginning of the story, and decides to wear it even though she's not really a jewelry person. Rainbow Dash wants to make this day special. After all of the fear and hardship, they deserve to celebrate. She suggests ice cream and whatever else comes to mind. All that matters is that they do it together. The friends reaffirm their bond, ready for more adventures ahead. Now let's get into my analysis and final thoughts. Rocket to Insanity and its comic adaptation take a well-known grimdark concept and turn it into something far more psychological and introspective and tragic, in my opinion. Unlike Cupcakes, where Pinkie Pie is the clear antagonist, this story explores the horror of losing control, not to an external force but to one's own mind. At its core, this story is about trauma, guilt, and isolation. Rainbow Dash isn't just fighting a nightmare, she's fighting herself. The paranoia, hallucinations, and eventual possession by Parthis or Sebnatstica symbolizes a loss of agency, turning her into something she fears. This echoes real-world struggles with mental illness, how nightmares, anxieties, and intrusive thoughts can consume someone if they don't have support. The emotional weight of this story really comes from how the other characters react, in my opinion. The initial rejection from her friends is painful, but it makes their eventual reunion and unwavering support more powerful. Twilight's steadfast belief in Rainbow, even when no one else trusted her, adds an emotional anchor to the story, culminating in a moment of vulnerability that leads to the kiss. While Rainbow Dash's reaction is harsh, it's realistic. She confused, scared, and overwhelmed. The story does not just brush past this moment, which adds to its depth. Luna's role in the story is just as significant. This isn't just about saving Rainbow Dash. It's about Luna confronting her own past. The reveal that she once tried to change Sabnatstica into Parthis and ultimately had to destroy him adds layers to her character, making her struggle with Nightmare Moon feel even more tragic, adding world building for those of us who really want it. Her final confrontation with Parthis is so heartbreaking, especially when he chooses to be destroyed rather than to continue his existence as a parasite, which raises the question, was he ever actually truly savable? Or was his fate sealed the moment he latched to Rainbow Dash, a mortal pony? The ending is very bittersweet. Rainbow Dash is saved, but Luna carries the weight of another painful loss, and the final moments of the story where the friends come together again really emphasizes the importance of unity, healing, and moving forward. Despite the horrors that they have endured, they survived, and they're stronger for it. This adaptation of Rocket to Insanity elevates itself beyond simple horror. It's a deep psychological tale about identity, fear, and redemption. It captures the emotional stakes of losing yourself and struggling to regain control, proving that even in darkness, friendship is magic. Now, before we end the video, I want to talk about the term Filly Fooler and how the first time I heard it, I'm sure you're thinking exactly what I thought, which is that it sounds like a term for an equestrian version of a PDF file. But nope, it's about les ponies. I don't know why they didn't just say les ponies or plot lovers or something, but nonetheless, it is a funny term that did come out of this. Thank you, every pony, for sticking around until the end of this video and waiting for it to come out. As you guys have begun to realize, I definitely value quality over quantity, as I want to give you videos that I myself can look back later on and say, I really did my best there. I want to remind you guys that in the future, I will still be uploading regularly, just not on any kind of schedule. So if that's kind of sketchy, I get that. But I encourage you to like and subscribe and follow along, because my next video is going to be awesome. I cannot wait for you guys to see it. It's a little shorter of a piece commenting on a My Little Pony problem, if you will, and I'm excited to give you guys my opinion on it, as I feel if anybody should give their opinion on anything that has to do with the My Little Pony fandom, it is I, as I have been born into this stuff. Literally, I'm not kidding. Little info dump about me while you guys look at my end card credits. I was raised by people who liked My Little Pony, so I was literally introduced to it from the womb. That's all I'm gonna say. I love My Little Pony. I love getting to comment on it, and you guys following along for it just makes me that much happier. You guys really help me. I mean, this whole channel really helps me fulfill my inner child's wishes, watching people who did exactly what I'm doing now when I was growing up, but with different things, and I just really want to thank you guys for that. So until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, my little ponies.